Hey, so this is Sean Runbum Blanton. I am a member of the Florida Trail Association. I do trail maintenance. I've helped blaze the Florida Trail in sections. I've helped clear it. I preach trail maintenance. I'm a trail runner, an ultra marathon runner, and more importantly, the race director for the Wild Florida 120-mile point-to-point trail run, which 95% so happens going northbound on the Florida Trail in Central Florida. So if you're running the race, these are going to be some very important tips for you, how you navigate the Florida Trail. If you guys are just a thru hiker or somebody who's stepping out on the Florida Trail for a fun weekend, just ignore me talking about the race and just assume that I'm talking about the Florida Trail, because our event goes northbound on the Florida Trail. So if you're out for a hike and you're trying to follow the Florida Trail in one direction, maybe for an out and back, point to point, whatever, this is relevant to you. Two things that you really need to have for this, whether you're doing this event or you're just out on the Florida Trail, highly recommend as a day hiker, and it is mandatory for our event, that you have the Guthook app. Guthook. Download that. The app is actually free, but if you buy maps, they cost money. If you plan on moving around Florida and doing a lot of different areas, I recommend that you just go ahead and buy the bundle, which is all the maps for the Florida Trail. The Florida National Scenic Trail, the Florida Trail, is a 1,400-mile trail system. Predominantly, it uses the vertical orange blaze, which is essentially a dollar bill size. And if you see a single blaze that says, hey, come towards me, and if you see two blazes on top of each other, whatever direction the top blaze is, that's the direction the trail should be turning. Sometimes it could be right here, the turn could be right here, it could be before this, or it could be after this. You really have to be alert. The Florida Trail, its beauty is that not many people use it or even know about it. So a lot of it is going to be overgrown. A lot of the tips you're about to see me talk about are assuming that trail maintenance has been done on these sections. Fortunately enough, for our event happening in a couple weeks now, which is usually the end of January, early February every year, we do not shut down the trail. We welcome and we help any thru hikers. We give them food and water. So if you see us out there, come say hey. But any other time of the year, I would say after April or May, the trails get pretty overgrown, infrequently used, until about whenever they get hit again with trail maintenance on that section, which is anytime late October to early mid-February. So with that being said, I invite you on this journey. Take a look at this. This will really help you out. Make sure you get the Guthook app. Also, the Florida Trail app is free. It's great. However, you must have cell service for it. Guthook, you download the maps to your phone. Hey guys, Sean Runbum Blanton here. I'm not actually on the Florida Trail. I'm on a connector trail to that, but the same rules apply. I want to talk to you about how not to get lost at the Wild Florida 120. Later on in this video, we will be following the orange blazes, which is the Florida Trail. Right now it is white blazes, which I don't really prefer because it kind of blends in with moss and stuff on the trees. Now, we want to talk about context clues, if you will, how not to get lost and how to follow the Florida Trail. Now, most of the sections that you guys are following have been maintained. We're on a more single track section. We're gonna look back this way. Not many people come through here, but guess what? This has been mowed. We can see that this has been mowed. So where the high grass is, you're probably not gonna walk through there. The other thing, if you look at this right here, these are tree stumps that have been cut down. You can see that it is parallel to the ground, that's flat, that somebody's used a saw on that. Well, that's probably where trail maintenance has happened, so that means that we're probably on the right path as well. Anytime you guys see here, I'm gonna take the camera for a second, but as we're walking down the trail, we are looking for trailblazes, okay? I see that is one right there. And as soon as your eye finds that, you need to be looking, where is the next one, okay? You're gonna go right towards that, and then you're looking for the next one. I see one right there. So hopefully that helps out. And then again, even though there are no double vertical blazes on that, the trail meanders a lot. So you gotta be really paying attention. And as you can see, this trail is blazed almost every 20, 30 feet, 50 feet at the most, if there's nowhere to go. So the key to that, as you can see, we're mowed right here, is just keep your head up. If you don't see a blaze for more than 90 seconds and you're on a single track trail, you probably got off trail. Hey, what are we doing now?
We are gonna go to the right.
Why?
Because if you notice, it comes to the right side.
The top one is out and we go that direction. Another context clue here that we can follow is if we continued straight, this is extremely overgrown while this is wide open. So that's another thing. We can see a faint blaze way up there, right there. That's also another context. So this particular section of the Florida Trail that we're on is not on the race again. However, it emulates a lot of the race course itself. For this, a couple hundred feet, it is very obvious where to go. As you can see, I hope, the orange blazes on the trees. The problem with this trail is all of a sudden, in 20 feet, it changes from being, right here in the middle of the woods where it's obvious single track to where we're on an old roadbed, to then when we're in, wide open prairie on another single track. So very imperative that you pay attention. So here's another tricky thing. I know we've talked about the double blaze. If it's up this way, we're going the top direction, we're going this way. If it is to the left, we're going this way. But there's also a lot of turns that aren't marked with a double blaze. Case in point, we've been going directly straight towards me. There's a blaze right here that's semi-angled this direction, but it makes you want to go this way. Now, for me, if I came to this section, maybe I'd see that this is cut a little bit, but I would see this big log and this looks like there's not a trail. I would then turn this way, see a blaze this way. Also, two other things I want to show you right now. If you turn around, if you're unsure of what direction the trail goes, and if you're on the trail, always turn around and look behind you. And if you can see the orange blaze, you're following orange blazes the entire time, unless we're on a paved road or I divert you off the Florida Trail, which there'll be more flagging and signs than Flag Day. But you can always turn around and look behind you just to double check to make sure you're on the vertically orange blaze Florida National Scenic Trail, the Florida Trail. If we come up this way, I want to show you something else. This is called a stile, S-T-I-L-E. You might see that. There's a lot of cattle here in this region, Central Florida, and this is to prevent hooven animals from going over these fences. Now, as you can see, there's big wide gaps. It doesn't prevent pigs, etc. This is a stile. I can see by the trail blaze right here, and I know on our map that we're actually going over this. So guess what you do? You just step over. I come to the other side, and I look from trailblazes. I see there's one up there. There you go. You might be asking yourself why you're not seeing any wildlife when you're wandering through the woods and talking. It's because you're making a shit ton of noise. So if you want to avoid animals that you're afraid of, make noise. Every couple minutes, yo bear, hey gator, hey Uncle Billy. Just make noise and you'll be okay if you're afraid of that. So another idea, again, we're looking for all these clues to stay on the trail. Look, we're going through mud. Guess what? We're looking for people's footprints. Over there, there's nothing. Over there, there's nothing. Right here, we see an obvious footprint pointed in this direction. Obviously, we see a blaze as well. But you guys have got to use these small little context clues. See, look, we're going straight here. Look, but guess what? Oh, now we're going right. So you got to make sure you really check out those turns and make sure you're navigating for yourself. I would say if you, as a good rule of thumb, if you're on a single track trail or in the woods and not on a dirt road, if you go more than 30 seconds to 45 seconds you're moving and you do not see a blaze, you need to think about turning around. Also, if all of a sudden you're kind of going a direction and you're like, oh man, fuck, like I don't see a blaze which way I go, stay the due course. Like stay going this way. Go around the corner, look behind you, keep going. If you then go 30 seconds and you don't see a blaze, consider turning around or just get your Guthook app out. I want to talk to you right now about what happens if you get lost, if you get off the Florida Trail. This is why it is imperative that you have the Guthook app at minimum, Florida Trail app is great. Again, if you have cellular service, which on the Florida times, a lot of times you're in very, very remote sections and you do not. So when you get lost, all the Guthook app, if you open it up, you're on a red line is the Florida Trail, the main Florida Trail. Blue trails, as we noted in our video, we see some white blazes, sometimes there's blue blazes, etc. Those are side trails. Sometimes they lead to trailhead, sometimes it's a loop, sometimes it leads to a river, like, you know, whatever. It might tell you that on the Guthook app. But what you can do is there's little small icons for trail crossings, road crossing, etc. You can click on those once you turn the GPS in, or GPS on the Guthook app, which is in the bottom right corner. It's gray. If it is, once you click it, it should turn green. That means the GPS is on. You will be a white circle with an arrow. The arrow is the direction you're going. What you can do, which is super easy, is zoom out just a little bit, find the next little circular dot that is a point of interest, click on that. As you click on that, once your GPS is on the Guthook app, you can do this in airplane mode. You don't need cellular service. You can click on that, and all of the Guthook app on your phone, when you have it, all of that is already set up in the northbound direction. So if you're traveling northbound on the Florida Trail, get lost, you get back on it, you click on a dot, a point of interest, and it will say X amount of mileage ahead or back. So if we're going northbound, and my phone's set up for northbound, then I want that icon that I'm trying to get to. Once I get back on the Florida Trail and I don't know which way is north and south, I click on something that I'm going towards ahead, not back, if that makes sense. If you have your Guthook app in the southbound mode, which for our race, you want to leave it alone and make sure it is in the northbound mode. But if you happen to be going southbound, the same rule applies. Know which way when you start, which way your app is set up. Its default is northbound. The most important thing about this entire race that you do for navigation, all that stuff like that, is every now and then stop, pick your head up, and look at the beautiful views around you.